We got breaking news into SportsCenter. A source telling Adam Schefter that 49ers rookie quarterback Brock Purdy suffered a torn UCL in his throwing arm during Sunday's loss of the Eagles in the NFC Championship game. Purdy is seeking second medical opinions about whether he needs surgery and whether or not he gets it. He's expected to be sidelined for 6 months. For much more, let's bring in senior NFL insider Adam Schefter. And Schefter, what more can you tell us about this injury?
Well, Kevin, when he initially suffered the injury, they were hoping that it was just a sprained UCL that would require 6 weeks of rest. But the test today showed a tear of the UCL, and it's a situation now where 49ers doctors are recommending that he has surgery. Now, before he has surgery, Brock Purdy wants to explore other medical opinions before he has to do that, but it certainly sounds like he's on track to have this repaired. And when that is repaired surgically, he would be sidelined the 6 months. Now, you think about the 49ers quarterback situation. Brock Purdy is out 6 months. Jimmy Garoppolo is coming off the broken foot and is a free agent. Trey Lance is coming off a fractured fibula with 2 ankle surgeries. And so a team that just went through so many quarterbacks now has major quarterback questions going into the 2023 season. You could name about 5 different quarterbacks that could wind up being the starting quarterback on opening day, and any one of them might have just as good a chance as the other of actually doing it, Kevin.
Okay, we will see how this plays out in San Francisco. Big question mark there. Big question mark is who maybe is going to be the next defensive coordinator with the 49ers. What can you tell us about DeMeco Ryans and possibly going to one of the 4 head coach openings right now in the NFL?
Well, Kevin, they lost Brock Purdy, and now it looks like they're going to lose DeMeco Ryans as well. He is in demand. The Houston Texans are the team that has the inside track on DeMeco Ryans. They are considered the front runner to land his services. Denver still would be open and interested in bringing him to Colorado if he didn't get a deal done with the Houston Texans, but the Texans control this. DeMeco played for the Texans. His wife is from Houston. They'd like to go back there if they could figure out a contract, and it looks like he'll probably visit there before they try to get a deal done. But make no mistake about it, the Texans are the front runner, and it would be a surprise if he didn't wind up being the Texans head coach.
Okay, let's take a round trip here on the coaching carousel, because another big storyline over the last 24 hours surrounds Kellen Moore parting ways with the Cowboys, hired by the Chargers to be their next offensive coordinator. Interesting turn of events here, considering Moore was a hot name in coaching circles last offseason. He now joins an offense that features Justin Herbert as the centerpiece in L.A. With Dak Prescott, Moore and the Cowboys put up big numbers in their 4 years together. Dallas was top 4 in scoring offense 3 times over that span. The lone exception, 2020, when Dak suffered a season-ending injury. This is not so much about Kellen Moore's future. It's really about what's next here for the Cowboys and Mike McCarthy and who's going to call plays. What are you hearing?
Well, amazing how the Chargers fill their opening at offensive coordinator and the Dallas Cowboys create one. Now, one of the ideas that's been talked about is having Mike McCarthy call the plays and leaning on his offensive prowess. But nothing has been determined, as I've been told, and so the Cowboys are still sifting through the possibilities of who will be their play caller next year. They know that they have Mike McCarthy on staff, certainly able to do that. They could look at other options. Perhaps there's somebody out there that's worked with Mike McCarthy that he's comfortable before. But essentially, Kellen Moore's off to Los Angeles to work with Justin Herbert, who, by the way, had surgery last week on his torn labrum. And now the Cowboys have an offensive coordinator opening that Mike McCarthy will look to address and fill, perhaps even with himself.
Interesting turn of events. We will see how that plays out in Dallas. Schefter, thank you so much. El?
Thank you, Kevin.
Kevin, still ahead on SportsCenter, how Andy Reid's time with the Eagles could add to the immense pressure already facing the Chiefs. But meanwhile, PTA has more on the 2 teams that fell 1 win short of the Super Bowl.
Hi, Pablo. Brighter future. Bengals, 49ers.
It has to be the Bengals, Tony, and I would have told you the Niners if you asked me this question at 3 p.m. Eastern yesterday. But now we know what happened. We know that Brock Purdy has this torn UCL that they hope to have him ready for camp, but it takes 6 months. Hopefully not Tommy John, but it'll be some other form of a surgery. And look, Kyle Shanahan needs a quarterback. The Bengals have Joe Burrow. Give me the team with the quarterback that I know is absolutely going to be there and be really good.
No, I understand that. And my inclination is to say that it's the Bengals because they have Joe Burrow and they have Jamar Chase and
Certainly Patrick Mahomes reflecting on what's been a really great playoff run for him for his career. 10 career playoff wins, ties him with Tom Brady for the most in a quarterback's first 6 seasons. Mahomes also joins Brady as the only QBs to start 3 Super Bowls within their first 6 seasons. Brady did so in his first 5 seasons. A passing of the torch, if you will, as we say hello to NFL Live's Mina Kimes, who's joining us here on the show. Give me your biggest takeaway from what you saw with Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs win over the Bengals.
You know, on the Chiefs side of things, I was just really impressed by how they overcame injuries on both sides of the ball in this one. First, offensively, losing, like half of your wide receivers, Juju Smith-Schuster, Mecole Hardman. It did not matter. I mean, at one point, Marcus Kemp, who had not caught a pass during the regular season, caught a pass. I thought this was a real testament to Patrick Mahomes and how he's grown as a passer this year in terms of his patience, his willingness to check down, and his ability to distribute to a variety of receivers. But also, on the other side of the ball, early in the game, the Chiefs lost their number 1 cornerback, L'Jarius Sneed, which I thought would be a huge problem, and at times it was. But the rookies really stepped up. You saw, of course, with the interception, incredible play there with Brian Cook and Joshua Williams. Trent McDuffie, who's been terrific this year, their first-round draft pick out of Washington, was tackling all over the place. Again, just a really impressive performance by some unsung heroes on this team that appears to be a lot deeper than anyone knew.
Yeah, you stay there with the receiving corps because it feels like Mahomes and MVS really haven't been on the same page at all. And then, bam, 116 yards receiving for Marquez Valdes-Scantling in a huge win. Mina, stand by. There is someone literally chomping at the bit. I love it here.
It's awesome.
Heaven.
Here we go.
Oh, God.
The early game yesterday in South Philly. Eagles hosting the Niners. Opening drive for the Niners. Hey, how will Brock Purdy handle the pressure? Well, here comes Temple's own Hassan Reddick, and this just changed the game. Ruled incomplete at the time. The Eagles would challenge. It would turn out to be a fumble, but more importantly, look at the hand placement there from Reddick. Purdy, elbow injury. More on that coming up from Adam Schefter. He had to be replaced. Steve Young said he was ready to come in. They could have used him because they went to Josh Johnson, the 4th stringer, journeyman, and he struggled. Really, the storyline for the Niners, the guy who could carry them, and that is Christian McCaffrey breaking through. And suddenly we have a game. We're tied at 7, and that's the highlight for the Niners. Next drive for the Eagles. Look at Jason Kelce pulling future Hall of Famer, and there goes Miles Sanders. 2 future Hall of Famers on that line, including Lane Johnson. More on Reddick recovering the ball on the bad snap. Johnson fumbling. Monster game from Reddick. He was aware that Nick Bosa was on the other side and all that Defensive Player of the Year talk. Meanwhile, the frustration building, 31-7. McCaffrey stopped. Eagles knew they were going to run. They couldn't pass the rest of the way, and the Niners just angry. Trent Williams would throw down Kayvon Wallace. Both players ejected. Jalen Hurts, Nick Sirianni going to the Super Bowl in just their 2nd year together.
This is something you dream about your whole life, and like I said to the guys, we've all been dreaming about it. Whether you were dreaming about it when you were 2, 10, 14, 18, or when you got in the NFL, this is something we all dream about, and we get to do it because we did it better than anybody else in the NFC this year.
Man, we put a lot of work in to have this opportunity. Put a lot of work in to have this opportunity and to be here, and it's a moment that we want to enjoy as a team. Reflecting on everything that we've been able to overcome to have this opportunity in front of us, we want to take advantage of it.
Complete domination by the Lions, the DL and the OL the last 2 games by the Eagles, the 5th team to win their divisional and conference title games by at least 21 points. They're the first to do it since the 1989 49ers. Each of the previous 4 teams to do that, they went on to win the Super Bowl. As promised, Mina Kimes back with us here on SportsCenter. Mina, what stands out to you about the Eagles' dominating performance yesterday?
Well, what jumped out to me, Kevin, was that the Eagles did not have a good day throwing the ball, and it didn't matter because of how dominant and really how multiple their run game is. San Francisco 49ers have an excellent run defense, but on the 2 biggest runs of the day, the Gainwell run and the Miles Sanders touchdown, you saw the impact of the Eagles' RPO game. Both were RPOs, and in both cases, the San Francisco 49ers linebackers were either frozen or influenced by the bunch concepts that the Eagles had to the right side. Again, this is just exhibit A for why this offense is so hard to stop, because they give you so many things to worry about, so many things to look at, whether it's the running back, Jalen Hurts keeping the ball, or, oh, by the way, Dallas Goedert, A.J. Brown, and Devontae Smith aligned in a bunch. There's just no right answers.
Philly with 4 rushing touchdowns, giving them 39 on the season, surpassing the 1924 Frankfurt Yellow